I wonder what happened that you can hear me now.
I don't know. But it sounded like a robot a few minutes ago. It was really strange.
All right, let's see.
Praise God.
Is it showing that it's live? Yep.
I have your page up. Hang on. How do I get to live? So tell me, how do we go to live? It's not live on my end.
It's live over here. Just refresh.
Okay. I just did. I shut it off and turned it back on.
And I tagged you so I could see you. Like, I don't know if you can see this. We're live on my, wait, that's not it. Hold on. See right here? Look.
Okay. We're on your Facebook Live. That is, so are you on your page, not in the group?
No, I'm on Divine Science in the Human Body.
Yep. That's it. Divine Science in the Human Body. And it comes up. Group by Charnel.
Maybe refresh.
I just did. Oh, wait. There we are. Okay. Got it. Got it. Yay.
Technology, when it works, is awesome.
Okay. Can you hear me on there?
Yes. I'm going to grab something more to drink real quick. Hold on.
Why is it not talking? It's talking through my phone.
You got your next. This is an X right there.
Where? Right there? Now we can talk.
My phone.
Okay.
You got your X. This is an X right there.
Where? Right there?
And make it full screen.
Why do I look? Okay.
Now I can from my phone. Okay. You got your X.
It's recording on there. Go ahead. You do it. Whatever you got to do. I just look so funny. Get me up.
I don't know how to get it to tab. On the arrows right there?
Where?
Right there. There it goes.
Okay. Just like.
I hear a little bit of an echo.
Okay. That better?
Yes. All right, guys, we are about to go live here. We're going to do a little teaching. I'd love to see if any of you guys are on. Feel free to leave comments where you are located. I have Pastor Debra Schilling live with me today. Teaching. She's actually hosting, and this is a new technology for everybody. We're doing new stuff here, so bear with us. And this is new technology for everybody. We're doing new stuff here. The echo is because there's two pieces of you might have to go in another room to do the interview.
Okay, let me try that.
That's fine. Wolfie, come here, Wolf. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come see me.
That is so weird, Charnel. double recording.
Yeah, because you're in the same room with the computer, so it's picking up the feedback. Are you in still the same room?
I'll go in another room. I'll be over there.
We got Shelly Beatty's here all the way from New Zealand.
I'll get a better view of you.
Like this?
Nicer.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, let's try that. Close the door, Karen. All right, we'll try this. Okay.
I'm going to remember to close the door, Karen. I'm going to steal that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that means multiple things.
Okay.
Awesome.
Super.
We both have our like superhero glasses on to match.
Mine are red. I couldn't find my brown ones.
Mine are blue, and only because I could just find them. But I have like
Oh no.
5 pairs of broken ones all over the house, like missing an arm or a glass piece or whatever. But so yes, we are at your church today. Tell us a little bit about your church and you, and what your purpose or accomplishment of this interview is, or what you hope to get out of it for your amazing group of people up there in Michigan.
Well, basically, we're a church here in Michigan in a little town of Richmond, and we've been here for 10 years. We've been surviving everything that's been going on around us. And I'm just excited today to hear what you have to share, Sharnael. You have just been so inspirational to me and what you've been teaching on and what you've been sharing. And everyone here at the church is very hungry, and they're just excited to see what God has next. What's the next chapter coming up for all of them? So we had service this morning and did worship, and I spoke for a little while, and then we had lunch, and then we've just been waiting to be on the interview with you. So we're super excited about today. So thank you very much.
Awesome. And how long have you guys been, how long in your church? How long have you been pastoring?
It was 10 years here back in January. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's 11 years this year. It was 10 years last year in January. So it's been good. It's been fun.
Awesome. Well, the reason why we connected is you want to share a little bit of how we even got on the phone, or where we actually connected from the beginning part, or where do you want to go with this? How do you want to, just to give a little people some backup story on what we're doing here?
Okay. Well, yes, actually, I was in prayer, and I was just praying about all the situation with the vaccine, with the test, with everything going on. And I had sent you that text asking you how you felt about those things. And you came right back with sending me some definite, strong links that really blessed my heart. In the meantime, I had found out that my grandson was facing an issue with cancer, which we thought, and went to prayer with that. And you'd given me a lot of positive feedback as far as that went. And he doesn't have cancer. It was just scar tissue, praise God. So that was super good. And, but in the meantime, the Lord just opened it up. I'm still not even sure how that day happened, when all of a sudden you were like, are you open for a little coaching? And I was like, yes, I am open for some coaching. And you called me immediately within a few minutes. And within 40 minutes, you gave me a coaching class, which basically rocked me and just really let me know what I needed. It was very helpful. I came back and even shared a lot of the things you shared with me. The power of God inside of us, who we are, and that we cannot give into the negativity and the things that we're being pulled in every direction right now. And I don't know if you followed what's going on here in Michigan, but they've got us locked down tighter than a drum here, and all kinds of craziness going on around us. And I'm thankful for everyone here at the church. They are just on fire. They are moving in what God wants them to move in. And it's been very good. So thank you.
Yes. So, well, actually, my dad is from Michigan, and so we definitely follow what's going on up there. And it's very draconian to me, what at the level of what they're putting you guys through, and it's scary, to be honest. not just in Michigan, but in multiple, just the whole direction. It can be scary. It's a great opportunity for all of us right now to dig in and actually take action with God inside of us to do what's necessary and required in this moment, because we're sent here for a purpose, and we were picked, and we were sent during this time for a reason. And God, this isn't in the Bible, but people always say God's not going to give you more than you can take, and people will play around with that, but it's actually not in the scriptures. But it does say that greater things than these. That's our inheritance. That's our DNA. We have technology to not only remote heal, but heal our own selves. We have this amazing God technology. And I think that a lot of times we forget about it, unfortunately. And it's my purpose and mission to be on this planet right now to help people connect and realign with that remembrance. And I have a whole book on it called The Science of Miracles. And it's remembering the frequency of love, who is God. And I like the word remember, because we are one body. And then we have this whole collective body. We have all the cells in here that come to be one body. And yet we have this collective that is one body, one membership. And as we align within ourselves first, and remember, as in become in alignment with God and unity and divinity, with each cell participating and active to all the things that God is inside of us. And then as we collectively move together to do those things, there's no limits. We're completely only forward motion with greater things than Jesus. Are you kidding me? I mean, Jesus did some amazing things while he was here, and he has the highest scalar waves of any human that's ever walked the planet, and did some major awesome things while he was here. So many things that they could not contain all of the records of everything that he did in one book. And I actually think that there's probably tons more information outside of the books and or the book that would give us more intent and understanding of that. And that same person is also a spirit. We were sent here on a mission to co-mission and to take dominion. We're commissioned, that word commissioned to be on the planet for right now, such a time as this. And then he left. He left. He was resurrected, and then he, ascended. But he didn't ascend because we have Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit is within ourselves. It's in everything that's alive, everything that's light, whether it's plant, animals, all of that. And I'm not saying worship animals. I'm not saying worship plants. I'm just saying that God is the beginning and ending of everything. And when we really get that, and we get how powerful that God is in us, and we are God in action, then all of this other stuff is just going to go by the wayside, because they have no chance. There is no they. It's only God. And, but it will take action, and it does take choices. And I don't remember if I shared with you my story about it's time to meet Will. Did I get into that explanation?
No.
So I kept having a recurring dream of angels coming saying, it's time to meet Will. It's time to meet Will. I got up and I talked to my assistant at the time, and I said, am I going to a church where someone's named Will or William or a pastor Will or Bill or something? And nothing was on the books. And I just kept getting that. And during that time, I had went to go see a man named Dr. Lucky. I was teaching a dreams and visions course in Mississippi. And I was really sick at the time, and had been doing all the normal Western pharmakia, which is witchcraft, and not getting any results except for them putting me on more meds, which gave me more side effects, which needed more meds and more side effects. So wasn't feeling any better. And they told me about this Dr. Lucky guy. When I went in to go see Dr. Lucky, which is interesting, he's a Pentecostal pastor also. And he's a medical physician, but he's also just like very spirit led, and he's very like Tesla and energy, and has like all these amazing machines and things from China and Germany, and all, I mean, very, very forward thinking and how to deal with frequency and the body. And so he puts me on this, this machine thing, and he hands me this clipboard. And when he does, the machine sounds like Pac-Man just died. It was a terrible, scary sound. I looked at his face. His face looked alarmed and concerned. And I said, oh God, that's not the doctor look you want to get. And I said, what's wrong? And he said, well, normally whenever I hand the clipboard to someone, they may read it, and then, or it was a paper, and they said, normally they will read it and then the machine might make a noise, but you just like took it in your hand and it basically made the machine go bonkers or whatever. And I was like, well, what's on the paper? So I read the paper, and the paper says like, I am beautiful, I am called, I have destiny, I am destiny, I'm loved, like all these really beautiful things. And I was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand, like, what does this mean? And he was like, well, basically your body is rejecting believing in any of these things on the paper. And I was like, no, it's like, and I was mortified. I was like embarrassed and hoping that he wouldn't say, what do you do for a living? Because I was like, I would probably be like, I'm a tennis pro or a bowler. I don't know, make up something, because I didn't want to like diss God and, service and ministry and be like, yeah, I'm in full-time ministry teaching this every weekend for the last 20 years. It's like a little embarrassing to be a rep for Jesus, and yet you don't believe anything that you're loved or called or anything. Is like, this is what I teach, So I, he didn't ask me right away. So I got to miss that part. But basically I said, what do we do? I mean, I was mortified. I'm like, I literally teach how God is so awesome and that we're called and connected and that we could do everything. And this is 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, but still, I'm like, how do I fix this? I'm like trying to put this in my head. Like, how in the world would I not believe this? I thought I believed it. I'm teaching it, right? But subconsciously something was going on. So he says, give me the paper. So he takes the paper and he writes something on the top, and then he hands it back to me, and I'm fine. Like, nothing happens. And I was like, okay, so what did you do? And I look, and all he wrote at the top was, I will. And he said, I want you to get in front of the mirror, and I want you to read and like look at yourself, and I want you to say, I will that I'm beautiful. I will that I'm called. I will that I'm loved. I will that I have purpose. I will, whatever. I will in front of everything. And I was like, what am I doing that for? And because it sounds a little weird, but he said, your will is 400,000 times stronger than your spirit. And as soon as he said that, I heard, it's time to meet Will. And I was like, oh my God, this is what God was trying to tell me. It was time for me to look into alignment with God's will. And even with scalar waves, we can test people on their biofield. The biofield is 6 to 8 feet, depending on, although there's some people who, like Mariah Woodworth-Etter, I mean, they would test her field and she would go like miles away. Like, she would just pray or whatever, and people would be out slain in the spirit like miles away, in trances and crazy stuff, because she was just a different being. But different people who have healing gifts and what have you, they can extend that field. And like Peter's shadow, that's the perfect example. It was what he carried in his field. And we can all do this. We can carry healing, we can carry love, we can carry light, that actually we don't have to say anything to anyone or touch anything, but it's just in our field. And going back to that, it's time to meet Will. He was telling me right then, like, this is your time to come into that alignment and to remember who I am. And I know you're familiar with Bobby Connor. Around that time, Bobby, we were doing a meeting, and I don't remember if it was Israel. It might have been Michigan, but he had this dream where the enemy had come. I say the enemy. I don't like using that anymore, but that's his wording. And he had said that the two questions that were being asked right now were, number one, who do you think you are? And I mean, this is 15 years ago, around the same time. And then he said that the Lord had said to him, no, it's who do you think you are?
Oh, wow.
It's the same question, but it's just slightly, a little bit of sarcasm there, where it's like, who do you think you are? Like, you can't do this. You're not called. You're not whatever, versus who do you think you are? And like, when we can remember, when we can remind, having the mind of Christ, transformation, and we can ignite the Christ in us, then we can ignite the biofield. And because the cells, what we think about, what we talk about, what we feel, this alignment is what actually sends the code out into the field. The field has a dual part. It's called a biofield because it not only radiates out, but it also magnetizes back in. So you can only get what you are. So as we really remember and align with all the things that God is, and put our willpower in it and through it, then we can actually just walk around wherever we are, and people will actually be like, I feel you. I mean, I know you've all met people that when you walked away, you were like, wow, I just love that person. Or I just got this really weird, creepy feeling about this person. Like there's like a serial killer vibe or whatever, right? And with the scalar waves, they can actually test, is someone in their role on a scale from 0 to 100 in their role of divinity and their God-given purpose, and they do a separate test, are they in their personal purpose? Wow. And you can be in a separate personal purpose than your will and God's spirit can be two different things. So you can score like a 15% of your personal purpose, but be an 100% of your God purpose, or you can be 100 and 100, meaning you're full on in your God purpose and your mission, and you're also in your personal purpose. Like you know who you are and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then I've met some people who are literally like, not like 5% in their divinity role, and they're like 100% in their personal purpose, meaning they're really overriding what God has for them for their own personal gain or their own personal trauma life or whatever. Most people just act out because of their own woundings, hurt people. But so that's kind of, where I am in this situation right now is you can listen to all the people, there's tons of quote truthers out there. There's all these people who are saying whatever. I've interviewed many of them for my show, and I've had this whole, I just feel very driven in my purpose to awaken people to remember as much as possible. But in the end, what I've been doing for really almost 20, 30 years now is helping people to go within, to know what God is saying to you, because God may be telling me to do something, and then he's telling you to do something different. Hopefully, because obviously there's people who are in Africa doing work over there, and I did Africa work for a while, and then I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And so when people are doing Africa work, or I don't know, Asia work or whatever, I'm like, yay, I'm so glad you're doing that, because I don't want to do that anymore. It's like, it's okay to be different. And maybe some people are called to a church, and maybe some people are not called to a church. Maybe people are called to a certain job or life, but just think, if all of us were pastors, then how would Christ be reached everywhere? It's like we have to be everywhere, and we have to be diverse. And that's what makes us all so amazing and beautiful as a body. We're not all the pinky, we're not all the eye, we're a body. We're all different. We all function differently and do different things. And we may not be called to do all the same things, but having our will aligned with God's spirit is absolute, the combination of everything. And so your belief system, my belief system, is crucial in this time right now, to actually know not only what God is saying, but what God is saying for you to do. and for me and whoever is here to help people to remember to go back to what is God saying in here, and not relying on anything external, but relying on the God-given technology in here that's telling us what to do. I lived through Katrina and several crazy scientifically engineered situations, and we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have electricity. I had to know, like, my mom's okay over there, or this person's okay over there. People were displaced. We had to, and I don't know what's coming, to be honest, but I do know that I want everyone to be as ready, and I invite everyone to be as ready as possible in their strength and their will and their being able to hear God and know what to do moment to moment to moment. It's not even like minute to minute or week to week. It's literally moment to moment to moment. And so I don't know if that is kind of where you were talking about, but that whole remembering piece is huge for me, of just helping people to tap into literally Christ in your DNA right here. We have the technology.
No, definitely. I appreciate what you're saying, because that's, I'd shared with you, I think earlier on, where I just said, I know, Charnael, God is using you to be a voice right now and to speak out to the people just like you're doing. And that's just to share these things, these truths of who we are in Christ. Because it's, as humans, it's like we forget it. We forget it on a daily basis, I think, that happens. And it's so important to keep that focus. Thank you.
Yes. And we are humans-ish, and we are, but we're also aliens. So, we're not from here, and we get, when we can remember the power of us as aliens, and it's not, people have used the term supernatural. It's not actually supernatural. It's just natural. Amen. It's all just natural when we remember. It's completely natural. I mean, I could give you so many testimonies of signs and wonders, because signs follow those who believe. Why is that? Because if you actually have the belief to be alive in it, that word believe, to be alive in something. When you absolutely have every belief that God is in you, everything that God is goes out of your cells into the biofield, and then you start collecting, because that magnet piece comes in. It's not just radiating out, igniting everyone that you meet, but there's a magnetic thing too, where God will start magnetizing things to you, whether it's a job, a partner, provision of whatever kind. We can actually collect things that have to do with God. We're God collectors, or God in us radiates out, and then we magnetize. So if our focus, our belief system is in line with God, then, and we're transforming into that alignment, and we stay, I am love and I stay, then guess what? We collect loving things, love who is God. And everywhere we go, we're just going to collect. And everything, we could say only God touches me, only God sees me, only God hears me, only God, feels me, and make that your truth, your belief, to be alive in that. And then that code goes out, and guess what? Everything that comes to you is totally God. And now, does that mean you're never going to have a bad day? No, because you know what? We have the DNA of our human people. We have genetics. Genetics can be carriers of certain belief system, of certain dis-ease, different things like that. But guess what? Epigenetics is real. Mm-hmm. So when something comes up, that doesn't mean it's a death sentence or a prison of any kind, no matter if it's dis-ease or a belief system. That means it's just ours to fix. It's ours to deal with, to shift, to change. And so whatever comes up, the first thing to do is, first of all, accept it, and I identify it, cool, whether it's an emotion or a symptom, and we can go in a whole talk about the symptoms, and we can talk about the emotions. So whichever one you want to go, or you want to do both, but 86% of all physical things actually come from emotional things. So it's real important to talk about both. But, you know, give me a direction and we'll go.
Whatever one you feel like you want to go. I'm thinking even just as far as the emotional. Let's go there.
Awesome. So right now, what I'm seeing when I'm scanning people, I have biofeedback technology, which you're familiar with. It basically can quantumly find out what it could measure your field, and you can find out like what you're projecting in the field that would be in dissonance, and then it actually sends energies back to you to balance that out. And what I'm seeing a lot of is there's a lot of emotional stuff going on right now, which makes sense. And I can tell if it's more recent emotional stuff versus if it's something that has been in your timeline from years back. And some of it is actually what we're born into. So if your grandmother or whatever, you know, someone in your past was maybe had a poverty situation, or they tried to do something and it didn't work multiple times, and so they just kind of were like hesitant or nervous about anything having to do with money or wealth or abundance of any kind, that can actually be coded in the DNA, and then you're born into it, and you may not even realize that it's there or cognitively have a fear about it, but you go out and try to do things, and then the code is still there on the underlining tape. And so the code is going out, and then what comes back to you is things that don't work out, things that don't work out, things that don't work out. And when you see those patterns, whatever it is, whether it's disease, partnership, betrayal, you know, whatever the situation is, like if you start seeing over and over a pattern where it's happened 2 or 3 times, you can know that there's some sort of underlying DNA issue that's sending it out, but it's fixable. So if you're like the office manager and you're in charge, and one morning you come in and all the furniture is upside down, you know, you don't be like, oh gosh, this is terrible, I guess I'll just live here forever in this mess. You know, it's like, no, you're the boss. You don't need to call anyone. You don't need to ask permission. You're just going to start putting all the chairs back and putting the computer on the desk and get everything in order. That's the same thing. Like if we see something, we get to fix it. And so even with the DNA, even with the patterns. So when those things come out of order, the first thing to do is to acknowledge it. And a lot of people, when they see it happen, they just talk about it. And they're like, oh my God, this happens all the time. Or, oh my God, here we go again, or cancel clear. Right. So I can give you an example of when I was doing a lot of itinerant ministry. We use Delta Airlines, and we'd have to go through Georgia all the time. And every Sunday I would get stuck in Georgia, cancel clear in Delta Airlines. I said, I'm going to start a freaking church in the Atlanta airport because I'm here every Sunday anyway. And it got to be where, you know, I didn't realize it was the subconscious. I was not awake to any of this at all at the time. I was years of posting on Facebook. Here I am again. Can anyone guess where I am? And say, oh, you're at the Delta airport in Atlanta. Like everyone knew my house, the lady who watched my animals, she would stay at the house, and I'd make a call and I'd go, guess where I am? You know, I'm going to say, or I called my mom, and my mom would say, there's always something, you know, and I'd walk by in the airport and I would see like Atlanta t-shirts or whatever. I'm like, you can't trick me. I don't care how cute you are on that t-shirt. I'm not buying it because I didn't want anything with Atlanta. I just had this whole like anti-experience with being stuck at the airport there. And so when I started waking up to this, I was like, I'm going to use this as an experiment. I'm just going to change it up because I'm powerful. Jeez, like for real, Jesus in me, right? Holy Spirit. I have the power. So when we went, I realized I'm creating this because I'm talking about it. I'm feeling about it. And that code is going into the biofield. And then I'm attracting and or magnetizing it to me over and over and over again. And then when I put it on Facebook, then I have 5,000 friends who are all adding to that energy of being stuck there. And when I'm calling whoever, they're all adding and agreeing to that. Agreement is such a big deal. And so when we're using social media to come into agreement with these things, we're giving the lower vibrations energy to hold the pattern, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, I created this. I can get myself out. And I've done this with physical stuff, partnership, and this. But this was one of my first little practice tests, right? So I get to Atlanta and I had to train myself. It took a lot of training because this is years and years and years of being stuck in Atlanta, cancel clear. But I had to change my mindset, my mouth, my ideas. And I just was like, I love Atlanta. Oh my God. Every time I come to Atlanta, I'm out faster than everybody. My flights are always on time. Matter of fact, I'm early. What? Yeah, I'm always early. You know, I started with just vocalizing it, walking myself through that. Anytime it would barely pop up in my mind, like, oh crap, you're going to be stuck here. Like, I'd be like, nope. I love Atlanta, and Atlanta always gets me out on time. I love Delta Airlines. I had to even put my body into it because I found myself going, I love Delta Airlines. And then I would catch my head saying no, which means there's disalignment in the pattern still in the consciousness. So I would say, oh my gosh, I love Atlanta. Atlanta is amazing. I'm always out on time. Everything works. And so, my manager called and she's like, I'm just checking on you. Do you need me to spend the night here tonight? And I was like, oh no, I'm in Atlanta. This is amazing. I'm going to be out of here just as quick as, it's so-and-so time. I think I was supposed to be in at 7:30. And I told her, I go, it says I'll be in at 7:30, but I'm guessing we'll probably be a little early because you know how Atlanta is. We're always like early with Atlanta. So I'm going to guess like 7:20, something like that. And then I'll just got to drive home. So she's probably like, what are you talking about? But I was like, look, this is an exercise. I'm practicing. Go with it. So let's just, anyway, guess what? I got in at 7:20, right? The next week, my husband was with me. It was the first time he was traveling with me in a while. And, he was worried because he had to get back to a soccer game situation and whatever. And they said on the intercom, like, sorry, we're having problems, da. And he's like, oh my gosh, he's thinking I have to be home because I have at 8:00 in the morning, all the stuff. He had to be at the thing that night. I was like, no, it's good. It's Atlanta. We're always on time. As a matter of fact, we're early. They'll figure it out. And so they were like, oh, move to so-and-so gate, because they're going to do this and blah, blah, blah. So we moved around. We did all the stuff. And sure enough, I was home like 16 minutes early, after several things that tried to trick me into going into that old pattern with like, oh no, we're never, and people sitting next to me going, oh yeah, this happens to us all. All the things that try to get me in the current of that sound to bait me into that mindset. I was like, no. We're in Atlanta, you guys. Everybody chill out. Calm down. I fly here all the time, and we are always early. They ended up getting us a new plane. We got out early. We were practically the only people on the plane. And I have used this with multiple people. We've outcome mapped and like changed the outcome over and over. One lady actually got to Utah on a plane all on her own. Like nobody else was on the flight for her because she got on the flight. Now you have to be very, very specific, because I had another lady who was standby and she was like, I'm believing that I'm going to be on this flight, standby, da. That's my thing. And so she did. She got on the flight, and then they asked her to get off because somebody else who had a paid ticket got on. She was like, I got on the flight, but I didn't outcome map that I would not just get on the flight, but I would land in Baton Rouge at whatever or wherever she was going. I think it was Alexandria that she was landing. I was like, you have to be so specific with energy because there's a code to everything. So it's not just getting on the plane. She got her answer. She got on the plane, but then she was asked to leave. So it's like, no, you got to outcome map the whole thing all the way to I landed in Baton Rouge or wherever you're landing at so-and-so time, and I'm early. So that's one thing is discipline. That word comes from disciple. And we have to keep our mind in the mind of Christ of what would Christ say? What would Christ think? What would he, how would he express a miracle? How would he move, just with like Lazarus? No, he's just sleeping, he's, whatever. Or when the centurion came and they're like, oh yeah, it's all good. They're good. Just go home and it'll be fine. It's like we got to get to that remembering our power of believing, being alive in the highest outcome that we could possibly imagine. And that word imagine or imagination to image a nation. If we just had like a base amount of people right now that could image our nation into the outcome that we really choose, we could collectively turn this whole nation around, and the globe for that matter. But the media, the Mockingbird media, has got this stream of information that is locking everybody into this mindset of all the things that you kind of mentioned earlier that aren't the things that are the highest for this globe right now, of just low vibration, and really sinking everybody in to the fear and the low vibration of that. So when we can work on the emotions, the first thing to do is just accept, and I don't mean accept like this is where I'm going to be forever. I don't mean that. I mean, just acknowledge. Maybe that's a better word, because if you had a friend who did something terrible to you, and then you had to be around that person like a bunch of times, like maybe at an office party or a family reunion, and they did something really horrific and you were really upset, and maybe you even contacted them and said, when this happened, that really hurt me. I was really upset. I really like to talk to you about it. If they turn around, they're like, that was not a big deal. You need to get over it. Like, I'm not even talking to you. Like, ignored you about it, and then just thought they were right and just didn't care, instead of being like, oh, Deb, like, I would never try to hurt your feelings. Like, I'm so sorry. That's not what I was doing. Like, if they could acknowledge, your body would immediately relax of just owning what they did, and you feeling heard, and you feeling like, right. I'm relaxing just saying this, right? And that's how it is energetically with ourselves. So if we are taught, don't cry, I'll give you something to cry about, or suppress, don't talk about it, depress, suppress, depress, oppress, all those things keep the energy down, keep the emotions down. That's the opposite of expression. It's the opposite of acknowledgement. It's the opposite of surrender or acceptance. And so if you're feeling whatever you're feeling, if we can just go, you know what, I feel blank, and just say I feel sad, or I feel angry, and just own it for a second. I'm not saying stay there forever and call your friends and put it on Facebook. I'm just saying, like, your feelings could be knocking on the door going, why aren't you acknowledging me? You won't even like admit that I'm here. Like, you're just depressing me still. You're just, you're withholding this. And what it does is, no matter if you say it out loud or not, it still has a code. So if you're PO'd, or if you're sad, but you're just going to pretend it's not there, or if you hate and you pretend it's not there, it's still there in the code. The code goes out in the biofield, and you start collecting people that hate you. You collect people that are sad. You collect people that are bitter. You collect people that are whatever. And you can be like, why am I getting all these mean people in my life? It's like, well, what is it that I'm not allowing myself to acknowledge? What is it that I'm not worked out or transmuted in my own DNA projection? And so when we can just acknowledge and go, you know what? Yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm mad. I'm sad, or whatever the thing is. When we own it for just a second, then we have somewhere to go, and we can actually move on. Now, again, I don't like talk therapy, because at most places that I've ever been a part of anything like that, talk therapy will be like, you come back every week and you just keep talking about it, but there's no movement. There's no forward, like experiencing something beyond just talking about it, and talking about it can actually amplify it. So I don't mean, get there, talk about it, stay there. And, I've literally talked to people who are still pissed off about not making cheerleader in 10th grade or whatever. It's like, seriously, so it's like, just come on. But when we can at least acknowledge it, I feel sad, I feel mad, I am angry, I feel bitterness or whatever, and just being honest, then that it transmutes it right away. If you have to cry. Some things will not detox any other way except through tears. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but I was taught, don't cry. I grew up military, no crying allowed, like zero tolerance for that. I think this generation is a little bit different coming up now, where I was like entitled and I could feel whatever, and I have opinions about everybody, and I'm going to put it all over social media and feel whatever, I get that too. There's got to be balance, right? So, but feeling things is a big, big deal. And I'll say this. So this is your frontal lobe, and your limbic system is behind that. The limbic system is what helps you to deal with the emotions. It's the seat of your emotions. And as we're exposed to whatever different things that come our way, which could be betrayal, or maybe something of an authoritative figure against you, or something repetitious over and over, or something like shocking, or like the 10 million things that you would never do to someone else and they do it to you, that limbic system goes, yeah, I'm going to defrag all this stimuli between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And if it doesn't defrag during that time, it's usually because it's a little more sticky. It's a little more extra. It's like harder to transmute, or not really acknowledged. Of just like push it down. And so if we can help ourselves, like as things come up, if we can just be like, yep, and then just kind of breathe, and maybe use some essential oils to help move things out, or get in the sunshine, get in nature, like journal, just give yourself a chance to move through these things. Then otherwise what happens is that limbic system goes, she's not moving. This is going to stick, and it moves it into a body part. And when that body part holds it, it could be weeks, years, months, whatever. And then when it's out of its dormant stages, and we never know why, usually it's like a trigger happens, and those triggers will make the organ start having symptoms or signals. And when it has the signals, a lot of times we're taught like, oh, cut it out. Here's a drug to make it stop, or, all the things to just make it go away. Right. But if we could just be taught and remember, signals are just a message saying it's time to let this be transmuted. It's time to come up and defrag. It's time to move it out. Then we can move it out. And what I like about, Dr. Lucky, he's the one that told me about essential oils, is basically with oils, when you smell them, they go past the olfactory system, past that frontal lobe, right to the limbic system. And it tells the limbic system, hey, you know what? It's time to let go. And it just starts letting these assignments go away and to kind of move out. And, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just got like a basic thing of oils and started putting it all over, and was very aware of the scriptures, 1,600 scriptures in the Bible that talk about how the disciples went 2 by 2. They couldn't have a cloak. They couldn't have a purse. But the next 2 scriptures say, but they went around with their oils and healed people. It's like, Luke in the Bible, physician, was not writing prescriptions. He was using like healthy things to help people. And the word therapy comes from therapeo, which means over time to make new choices and new will choices to move things out. Like it wasn't like always instant. The word heal in the Bible is used many, many times, but most of the time is therapeo is the word that they use for healing, which means healing over time through changing up what you're doing. That's where they get like therapeutics of like, what do you call those guys? What am I thinking? The guy who does all the muscle stuff, and they work out your muscles, and I'm having a brain fart, but, or chiropractic or anything like that. It's just over time doing different things, eating different, maybe taking some supplements, or using oils or whatever. But then there's only a few, I think 70 times where it was like instant miracle. So I have to go back and look at my notes. But when the word heal meant instant. So we all just want this like instant, like with everything. And most of the time God's like, it's not just instant. It's like, you got to change your ways and, remember will. It's time to meet will. So it's the combination of discipline. It's a combination of will. It's a combination of what you eat and drink, and whatever you do all for the glory of God. All. What is all? That is all. What you think about, what you talk about, what you're posting, what you're feeling, what you're putting in your mouth, what you're drinking, pharmaceuticals, which is pharmakia, which means witchcraft. Like, what are you participating in? So we got that with the emotions. Me using just a few oils in 16 weeks. I went from 24 markers on this biofeedback thing of lots of physical issues to completely getting off 30 meds, dropping 80 pounds. And I dropped from 24 markers to 4 markers in 16 weeks of just clearing. But so that is the emotion part. And then physical, conscious language, being really consistent in physical things. You might have to do some therapeutic things, meaning, I don't know, hyperbaric chamber, colonics, raindrop, making sure you clean your house with good products that aren't going to be messing with your hormones and your field. Like cleaning supplies, like bleaches and all that kind of stuff. They're hormone disruptors. They're cancer causing. And you can go all the way to pharmaceuticals and to everything else that have side effects and things that, even wearing perfume, that will change the pheromones from your body to distort and go out into your field. And it starts looking for a match that isn't like you at all. And so a lot of people will stop wearing their perfumes, and then they're married to this girl or guy, and they're just like, I don't even like you. It's like, well, because you've been using something to change your pheromones to attract this person in your life, and now that isn't even a good match. So we can get mixed up, so I'm just rambling at this point. How are we doing?
Doing good. You were saying about our and keeping things focused. That scripture kept going through my mind. It's the continual renewing of our mind. Let this be you, which is also in Christ. But there was one thing I just want to tell you really quick, was when you were talking, there's a story in, I believe it was Elisha, and the woman, her son had died. Well, when she was confronted, she said 3 times, she knew her son was dead, and she kept saying, "It is well, it is well, it is well." And then Elisha raised her son back from the dead. God was awesome. What happened? So anyways, but continue. Sorry. I just want to share.
Yeah, no. And God is awesome. Still, God is still God. Oh, I'm going to cry. God is still God, even in this situation where we're at. And, I think a lot of people are going like, where is God? And when's Jesus coming back? And I appreciate all of that. And also Jesus never left. Jesus is right in our cells. So is Holy Spirit. And I think there's a whole lot of like pressure for some outside source to come save us. And I'm not saying that God doesn't save and that Jesus doesn't save and that there aren't amazing angels and all of that for all kinds of situations. But I also think that we're sent here to occupy. We're commissioned to occupy. What does that even mean physically? That means it's time to meet Will. It's time to make some choices. It's time to hold on to our boundaries. And if someone came in your house and started taking your children, you would stand up and you'd be like, no, and yet all of these things are happening and then people aren't doing anything about it. And it starts with the mask situation. It's like, I think that was a big test to see like what everyone would do and go like, well, we'll just try it out and we'll see if they'll listen. And people are so, especially Christians, are like so easy to comply and be like, oh, I don't want to be confrontational and I don't want to, I'll just do what I'm, but it's against our civil rights. It's against the Constitution. And, I get that I have had to wear it a couple times, and I went to court and they made me wear it walking in the court, which it was crazy because as soon as I walked past the little radar detector thing for make sure I wasn't carrying a weapon, then they were like, oh, you don't have to wear it anymore. And I went back in. Actually, they didn't say you don't have to wear it, but they just kind of were like, I just took it off and I was like, I'm not wearing it. And nobody said anything to me. So most of the places that I go, for me, I feel like I'm not living my truth to wear it. It's like it goes against everything in my body because it's not the way God made me to cover the places where oxygen comes in my body. And I just watched something on television the other night, and literally I was just trying to do it to get away from all the things that I'm doing, and the people were wearing them on TV, like driving their car. This is programming. Like you're in your car alone on television, this is all play. And, you know, but if they get us to image that, then the subconscious goes, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. And this is, you know, whatever. And if all the actors and actresses and the celebrities and the musicians and everyone is getting the Satan shoes and it's all like cool and, you know, whatever, then
Right.
sad. And it's on purpose what they're doing. But we haven't got on purpose. We have gotten off track of what purpose is in this journey that we're on. And, you know, in the end we win. But how do we win? I guess people will have to get mad enough, and it has to affect them personally to do anything. Right now it's like, oh, the border, that's far away. You know, that's for those people to figure. It's like, no, they're putting those people in planes and dropping them off all over the United States right now. So what are they going to do? Set up camps at all the airports where they're dropped off? Like, these people are given $2,500 on an envelope and, you know, sent, I do not speak English on the envelope. And they're literally dropped off at these airports. And it's like, what are they? I feel bad for them. Not to mention the kids that are literally just being scooped up and taken. Doesn't seem like anybody cares. Super sad. So I don't know. I have to stay in my God is the only power and presence acting here, you know, and then ask myself, what is my action? What is my will? What am I being called to do in this moment in time? That would make a difference for my planet here, because we're here and we're creating. So why not create good things while we're here? Why don't we make a difference? Why don't we commission? Why don't we co-mission? Why don't we live our destiny? Like, they said it was going to be biblical. This is kind of looking biblical at this point, when there are, you know, cruise ships not picking up people off a volcanic island because they don't have their stuff. You know, this is heinous. This is evil, you know, and they're just straight up on, you know, on the cover of magazines talking about blood for eternity, you know, using blood of children to help people be ageless. And I mean, this is, I could go a lot more different personal experience, but I mean, it's demonic. It's definitely satanic. And I think all of you guys know that. And the question is, what are we called to do in this time and then in this moment? And I think everyone, a lot of people are just like, it'll get better, and I'm sure they'll work it out. And we're just kind of like taking a back seat and just, it's like, you know, just wait for it to be over. That's like basically if like 100 people surrounded your house to take over your house, and you're just like, they'll go away, it'll be over. It's like, well, or are you going to stand up for what's right and do something about it? You know, again, the question is, what are we called to do in this moment, and our little part of who we are and what we're called to do? And I don't know, you guys have any questions or how much time you have? I had about 15 minutes. I went a little bit over. I'm sorry about that. We kind of started a little bit late though too. So I hope this is helpful. I can't see your people because you're in a separate room, and I understand that, but I'd be curious if there's any feedback, if this is making any sense or helping anyone out there. But
Let me do this. I can ask everyone that's out there, Karen, if anybody's got a question, you can come back here and ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Charnel, what you were saying while she's doing that, that's it. You know, it goes along with what I was actually speaking on this morning, is we've all got a mission. God's got a plan for all of us. We've just got to stay in focus to hear his voice, hear what he's telling us that we're supposed to be doing. Hang on a sec. Yes. Any questions?
No, I was just going to tell her feedback from the people.
Oh, tell me. Yes. You want to tell her?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, I just want to say the feedback from the people, from my husband and I, we're just nodding our head the whole time. Yes,
Awesome.
yes, 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 thumbs up. Everything you're saying is confirmation to what I've been learning and growing in, and awesome reminder of what we speak, which, both my husband and I are both like sitting there going, all the things that we need to change that we've gotten in the habits of saying that are negative over ourselves, over our kids, over our finances, over whatever things. And just really appreciate what you're teaching, because it really just confirms and affirms everything God's showing me and encouraging us to do it. Do the work.
God in action. What's your name?
Karen.
And what's the crystal you have on?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I just really liked it. It's a rainbow
Quartz.
Yes.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Lots of frequency in the crystals. And I mean that from a scientific point of view. Like, we're often taught in the churches, like, crystals are so bad or whatever, but the Levites wore the crystals in their shield. Like, why? Because it has power and it has high vibes and high frequency. And someone who's giving service all day long, of course, they would need some extra battery energy back into their lives to be able to do what they're called to in service. So awesome. Thank you for your feedback.
I use essential oils also. And, you came to our church years ago. I was here with Pastor, and that was when I started. But just fighting against the whole religiousness of all that, I've actually been a little nervous wearing it here at church, but I've said, no, I'm wearing what God created, and there is energy and frequency in it, and I receive it in Jesus' name.
Amen.
So thank you for everything.
Thank you, Karen. Bless you and your husband.
Yes.
If anybody else has a question, you can come back here. And if anybody else has anything too. But, Charnel, when you were saying that, and it was like, I remember it was Joanne McFadder, and we were talking one time, and she was like, these people say this is new age, that's new age. She says, that's just silly, because God created the crystals for us. And like you said, the ephod that the priest wore had, the Urim and the Thummim was two stones that they used to be able to hear from God. I mean, that's heavy. And that's exciting. So thank you.
There is a Lemurian crystal that, all of them record. Crystals actually record, but the Lemurians have more record keeping. They call them record keepers. And I had found one in Florida, and I was like, I knew prophetically, I was walking, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is mine. And I don't have it with me right now, but I put it on my lap, and basically I literally got my whole book, The Science of Miracles, within, I wrote the whole thing in 12 hours.
Awesome.
The Science of Miracles. And it says, The Science of Miracles, remembering the frequency of love. And it goes into the simple steps of changing your field, so you get different patterns and you actually live in miracles all the time, because this is our destiny, is to just live the way Jesus did, if not greater, actually greater things than these. And to have that as I had a big miracle today, a huge miracle today. And I shared it with you about this puppy.
I know.
But you want me to share that real quick?
Yes, go ahead and share it. Yes.
So here's an example. Hey, Shelly Beatty, bless you so much. She's in from New Zealand, and she's saying hi. So we lost one of our dogs had passed away a couple weeks ago, and it's just been kind of terrible. It's a German Shepherd, and it was my dad's dog. My dad, like, this dog followed him everywhere and just was his pal. I mean, they were besties. And so he's just been going through, all the things when you had a dog for 10 years and it passes. It's just like their family, right? So, but last Saturday, I was driving because we were talking about maybe getting a dog for him for Easter, and I had found a bunch online. And, I also have 2 German Shepherds, and I was actually in my mind going, you know what? I have one that's about a year old. She's got about a lot of money in her as far as training, so she could do like everything. And that way he wouldn't have to fool with starting over with a puppy, although he really knows how to train dogs. He's been training dogs, and we've always had German Shepherds. My uncle was canine MP, and my grandfather had German Shepherds. So we've always been a German Shepherd family, and we train our dogs. And so I thought, well, this one will all be ready. I have to do the puppy stuff and start over and blah, blah. And I was actually willing to give up my own beautiful dog. I mean, they're just up the street, so it's not like I wouldn't see it every day. But I had that thought, like, well, maybe this is supposed to be for them, and, you know, whatever. And well, I was driving down having this conversation in my head. And then all of a sudden, I could tell you exactly where I was on this street. It was right in front of this crawfish boil place. I hear in my head a little clip of a song that I don't recognize. And I'm like, I'm hearing it over and over. I was like, what is this song from? What is this song from? And this is how we get information. I'm going to do a whole workshop on signs, wonders, and tapping into the cloud of witnesses. And this is something I'm going to teach on, some things I've never taught on out loud before to anyone in public. But this is a workshop I'm doing coming up. But I heard this couple of phrases that I knew was a song, and I even got the tune. And so I like pull over the gas station and I Google, and the song comes up in the YouTube, and it's like in YouTube, and it was a song from a movie in the Broadway show Annie. And the song was called Maybe. And the part that I had heard was only the last bit of line, and says, so maybe now this prayer is the last one of its kind. Won't you please come get your baby? And then it says maybe. And the context of the song is Annie is an orphan in this orphanage, and there's all these kids around and they're half asleep, you know, whatever, but she's up thinking about how, I wonder where my parents are, like maybe one day they'll come get me, and like what are they going to be like, and, you know, maybe they're rich, maybe they're poor, you know, all these things of like this little kid who's like wanting to be adopted, and she's all alone and an orphan. And and then she says, you know, please, you know, calling out this prayer, like, please come get me. And then she says, maybe, like, also a little bit discouraged and like desperate, and like, oh, maybe they won't, you know, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but here's a prayer. And I call my mom and I go, Mom, I don't know, you know how I get stuff. I said, I think that you're not supposed to get any of these dogs we talked about. I don't think you're supposed to get my dog, because my dog has parents. I said, I just had this thing happen. I sent her the clip. I said, you know how I get things. I said, I think that your dog is already born and it's alone. It's an orphan, and that you're going to adopt it, just like Annie. I thought, I don't know how, I just, call me crazy, but I'm telling you, I think your dog is already sending a prayer out for you. And I work at a shelter. I do all the things that I do, but I work at 2 different shelters too, as an ND and a foster mom. So I actually called the director of one of the shelters, and they never have puppies. They usually get like dogs that are dumped off, and very, very rarely ever get puppies. So I had called to say, do you have any German Shepherds that someone has turned in or surrendered or whatever? Because every now and then you'll get like a dog. And she was like, no, I don't. And I told her what happened with my mom's dog. Well, this morning I had another lady I've been working with the C word, and we've been working back and forth. And she contacted me this morning to let me know that her German Shepherd had passed. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it just, you know, she was saying, oh, I know it's just a dog and everything. I was like, no, it's a big deal, you know. And I don't know why, but I felt prompted, like, go to the Denham Springs Animal Shelter, like Facebook page. And I just go right then while I'm talking to her, and there is a German Shepherd puppy that's about 11 weeks old. It's a girl. They wanted a girl. And it says that she was dropped off or dumped that morning, today, like hours. And Rachel, so I call Rachel, the director. I'm like, oh my God, what's the story on this dog? I'm coming right now. She was like, come right now. And that's why I had called you. And I'm like, I got to go to the shelter. I got to check this out. I think our dog showed up. But I was like, oh, can I foster it, or what are we doing, or whatever? So I bring my mom over there, and she just cried. And my dad was like, maybe this is our dog. Maybe it's destiny. And so we're getting the dog. We have to wait 10 days, but we're adopting this dog. So this is like, you know, I could give you a million of these stories. And I work with people all day long to remember how they can have miracles, whether it's financial, a car, a house, a partner, you know, a wife, a husband. I've got like 8 people that I've connected with their wives or husbands now, and they're married happily. And yeah, when we tap into what we're doing and why we're here and who is in us, like, you can actually practice until things just pop in. Then it's like just normal to have regular miracles all the time. So anytime someone buys the book, I'm like, well, do me a favor and report your miracles to me, because I'm going to expect that anyone who reads this is going to apply it and have the automatic miracles that are happening on just instantly. So anyway, do you have any questions?
I ordered the book and I'm reading it, so I will definitely be reporting. And I just had a young lady from the church just walk into me, and she said, she was asking me, how did you lose the weight that you had lost?
Okay. So after 16 weeks of using the oils, I just got that basic kit. I did not have any knowledge that I would lose weight over that. That was not the goal. That was not anything even in my mind that would happen. But when you deal with trauma, so I had 24 markers of trauma. I didn't know how many were dormant, how many were active. I just knew that trauma equals dis-ease and had the physical symptoms. So when I got that basic kit, I just started putting it on my body, main arteries, wrists, feet. You know, the pores are most open on your hands and your feet, which biblically, you know, where did they apply with their hands? Obviously, but they remembered Jesus had it on his feet. Like, so just following the biblical thing here. There's a book called Healing Oils of the Bible that I kind of used as my guideline of, you know, finding all the scriptures, because the Bible is full of the scriptures that talk about it, but they don't say, and this is what you do. Because, you know, like right now in modern day, if I said, hey, Deb, go get an aspirin, which I would never say, but I'm saying, if you said that to someone, people won't go, oh my God, what's an aspirin? How do you take it? What do you mean take it? What you,
right?
You know, everyone just knows, right? So when the Bible was written and they talk about myrrh or frankincense or whatever, everyone's not like, can you explain and elaborate on that? They don't need to write it all down, because everybody's like, oh yeah, frankincense. Okay, we got that. So, but yeah, when I just basically put it on my feet, I diffused it. I, you know, put it on the main arteries over 16 weeks of just being very intentional. Not only did I stop having the physical symptoms, but one day I get up, I'm like, my pants are kind of loose. And then it was like looser and looser. And so I went and bought new clothes. And then I wish that I wouldn't have bought clothes yet, because I went from size 22 to a 4 in 16 weeks. When we hold on to trauma, we hold on to weight too. We hold on to pounds. We hold on to everything, because your body is like, oh, and it stores and it holds on, because it's like, I got in its protection to protect your physical body. So when you start letting go of all those things, and your body is like, oh, I feel good. I remember, I'm strong, I'm healthy. I don't need to be in the defense victim role anymore. I'm the victor. Then you just shed it. And I did gain probably like 25 back with getting married and just, you know, having a little extra carbs here and there. But yeah, I mean, I feel good and I'm healthy, and I've seen this happen over and over with everybody. Like, it's just like, you do this and you're going to get that, because this equals that. And there's formulas to it. So yeah, that using the oils helps.
That helped a lot. Yes. Thank you. Did that. Yeah. Awesome.
She increased with some carbs. So did she do a low carb?
So
I have since then, because of I had another health situation that happened. I did go keto to starve out, whether it's fungus or mold or parasites or the C word. All of those things feed off of carbs. So I'm a big fan of keto for all those reasons. And I'd have a book on keto, actually. And we have like a membership
Yes.
This has 31 chapters, one for every day, just to reprogram. I wanted it to be a very call to action type learning thing, because I think if people know why they're doing it, then they have a tendency to stick with it a little bit more if they understand the reasons behind it. And then we have a private group where people are all in there learning together and just posting recipes. And there's 31 videos. So it's one per chapter. You don't have to have the book to be in the group, but you just watch a video every day for 30 days, just because it takes 21 days to make a new habit. So we went a little longer because I had more information. I'm like, let's just keep adding some. But yeah, keto is a big part of why we can be healthy too, for me.
Thank you. That's awesome, because that is helpful too for everyone. So I so appreciate everything that you're sharing so much, and even just the feedback that I'm getting from everyone. So thank you.
Yes, awesome.
Extremely,
So
extremely
you
helpful.
guys have a very, very blessed day. And I hope if you guys are on Facebook, maybe you'll send me a messenger or something, because I'm very huggy. If I was there, I would hug all of you and pray for all of you individually, and do more. I like to do like the prophetic parts of all that, and read the field and like move into some of that. And maybe that's something we can do another day. But yeah, hopefully this gives some good foundation of empowering and igniting the remembering of God in you. In the meantime, if you guys do want to connect, you can find me on Facebook, and we do things like the biofeedback. I do personal coaching, and lots of different things. We have memberships for different classes, but whatever floats your boat and whatever is required for you at the time. And again, I would hug all of you. So just pretend I'm hugging every one of you. And if this did help you in any way, I always love if you could send a little message and I could see your faces, at least to connect with you in the field and be like, I'm sending you love. And I can actually see who I'm sending it to. I know we can do it remote, but I like seeing faces too. So I just wish I was there. My mom was like, "You're going to Michigan?" I'm like, "Yes," in a weird way. I'm going to Michigan. Going to Michigan.
Well, you have open invitation anytime to come here too in person. You know that. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, I love every one of you. I thank you so much. And look forward to when I do come up there and meet you in person. And I'm just so thankful for you, Deb. I love your heart, your purity. I love your, I'm going to cry. Just such a beautiful soul. And everyone is so lucky to have you in that area. And you guys are just so blessed to be able to have such a woman that is just strong and fierce, but also has tapped into this like just enormous pure love, just this selfless, beautiful love that you are. And it's such an honor to co-mission with you and just to be a part of your life and what you do for so many people. And just, oh God, it's always good to meet someone with such integrity and love, just pure love for people, to see the best in everyone and to help so many people. I mean, you're in the church or out of the church, you get the whole idea. You really understand your role and who you are. And it's just, I love that you're so open to the truth and to growing. And, some people are just like, this is where I am. And you're just beautiful inside and out. And I'll just thank you. I'm so blessed to know you.
And I'm so blessed to know you and everything that you are doing and everything that God is going to begin to do even stronger through you. So thank you for I know you've got so much going on in your busy schedule. So I'm so appreciative for you taking this time today and meeting with us today from the bottom of my heart, Sharnael. You've done so much for so many people in your books and the biofeed and everything that you do to help. I mean, you've helped me so much. So I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart. Bless you. Thank you.
Well, I will be in touch, and you keep me posted on how things are going and report you guys' miracles. What I'm seeing more than anything is you and your church completely walking in all of who God is in each one of you. and you all seeing miracles everywhere you go, igniting Christ everywhere you go, igniting miracles everywhere you go, and being God who is love, being love everywhere you go, and igniting love and everyone you contact. That's what I'm seeing for not just you guys, but everyone who can hear this, everyone who's watching, everyone who's listening, to be able to remember the power of love within us. This is our inheritance. And I see you guys doing that. Please do report your miracles to me.
We will.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a beautiful week. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.